We were in page 101, I think.
ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे ॐ हयग्रीवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीवल्लभा समेत श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। So we were looking at the drishyatva anupapatti of anubhava or anubhuti. That anubhava is always drik swarupa. It can never become a drishya. So it is always of the nature of the knower. It can never be an object of knowledge or object of cognition. That is the discussion going on. In this context, if we say that the anubhava itself is a swarupa, now that is not acceptable to the Vishishtadvaitins because they say that anubhava, chaitanya, or chit are all dharma of atma, and the dharma dharmi, if it is there, then it should be knowable, correct? Something should be knowable as qualified by something else. That means for them, even anubhava, anubhuti, and all that, they consider it as drishya. Now we cannot uh, accept that, obviously, because there is a lot of shruti and smriti pramana, correct? Everywhere, kena kam pashyet and all that is there, and aprameyaha, like that it is said always. The Atma itself is revealed as that which does not become a prameya. Or in Kena Upanishad, if you take repeatedly, Upanishad is saying, Neda medidam upasate, correct? Yen manasana manute, yena hurmano matam, tadeva brahmatvam buddhi, neda medidam upasate. And in Taittiriya Upanishad, also, yato vacho nivartante, apraapya manasa saha. So all these things are there. We are on very strong grounds to say that Atma and Chaitanyam are Drik Swarupa, they can never become known, Drishya. Now, in this context, we also finally the argument was how can this Anubhava, which is Drik Swarupa, be Nirdharmaka? It is not a dharma, we say. For that, we said that even you people, for you, when you talk about dharma and dharmi, that dharma itself is a padartha or not. There are two padarthas you are talking about, correct? There is a dharma, dharmi, qualification or quality, and the qualified. Now, if those two are there, the quality itself, does it have quality or not? Means we cannot say that quality has another quality or quality is qualified by the qualityness, whatever it has. Then it will become the qualified. It can no more be the quality, or it cannot be dharma anymore. It will become dharmi or guna guni bhava. Even if you take in the guna itself, you cannot say another guna is there or it is having gunatvam and all that. You cannot hair split like that. This is also accepted by the Nayayikas at the Paramanu level. I have already said. This is quoted by Bhashyakara also. Bhashyakara says this in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashya. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashya. He also says that even you people accept that Paramanus have whatever the Prithvi Paramanu means. It has that Prithvi is Gandhavati, correct? The Gandha Guna is its Swarupa. You cannot further have Gunaguni Bhava there. So, like that, you also have. Otherwise, if you say both are same, then you cannot even have Dharma, Dharmi, Vyavahara. So, you have to accept that there are two Padarthas, Dharma and Dharmi, and Dharma itself is Nirdharmaka, correct? So once we say this, and finally we say what? Tasmat nirdharmikayam drishau yaha kopi dharmaha sthatum na arhati eva. So we came up to this point, this sentence. So in the nirdharmaka drik drishi, you cannot put any dharma on that, on top of that. You cannot foist any quality onto that. It is as it is. Okay. This is now the Purva Pakshi is trying to explain their concept of what they are talking about, basically. Okay. Prakasha, Suprakasha, etc. What they are really meaning. And Dharmi Bhuta Jnanam, Dharma Bhuta Jnanam and all they talk about. So what is all that? There is a big explanation here. Let us see that. Nanu Jnane Prakashaha iti kashchana dharmaha asti. So first what they are saying, in the Jnanam, there is a dharma called Prakasha. You have to accept that they are saying. That's why we say something is shining, correct? Bhasati. Okay. So the pot shines. Like that when you say, then what is that shine? What is that Prakasha we are talking about? So there is a dharma called Prakasha in Jnana itself, they are saying. Jnane Prakashaha iti kashchana dharmaha asti. Okay. And what is this Prakasha? Prakashascha Chid Achid Ashesha Padartha Sadharanam Vyavahara Anugunyam. Okay. What they are saying is this Prakasha is common for both Chit and Achit, they are saying. Okay. For everything. In fact, when you divide the whole world into Chit and Achit, basically you have covered everything. Correct? So Chid Achid Ashesha Padartha Sadharanam means it is common for all the things, whether it is sentient or insentient. This Prakasha Dharma has to be there everywhere. And that is the one which is Vyavahara Anugunyam. Anugunyam means Anukulyam. It facilitates Vyavahara, they are saying. Okay. Even the Vyavahara, that pot shines, that pot becomes known itself is a Vyavahara. And that itself is possible only because the Prakasha only is allowing you or it is helping you to have that Vyavahara. So it facilitates Vyavahara. Vyavahara Anugunyam is there for the Prakasha. And how does it happen means Vyavahara Karmatva Rupam, Vyavahara Anugunyam Sadharanam. So when we say Vyavahara Anugunyam, what they are really meaning is that it is Vyavahara Karmatva Rupam, means that Vyavahara, that Jnana Karma happens because of Prakasha. If there is no Prakasha, the Jnana Kriya will not happen. So the Jnana Karmatva Rupam only, it facilitates and it is common for all things, whether it is Chit or Achit, everything has to have this. And that alone, again they are saying, Tadhi Vyavahara Prati Sambandhitvam means it is the one which connects the different things in a Vyavahara. So whatever is taking part in a Vyavahara, in an activity, whether it is the doer, then it is the Vishaya, all those things are connected by this Prakasha. Prakasha is the connecting medium, you can say. It is the medium in which all these things are there and they are connected by that, and that's how the Vyavahara itself is facilitated. So Vyavahara Prati Sambandhitvam, like this also they are saying that Vyavahara Anugunyam is really the Vyavahara Prati Sambandhitvam. Only when the Sambandha is there between all these things, the karma itself is possible, Kriya is possible. Okay. And Tadeva Bhasamanatvam. So that is what we call finally as the pot shines. Means that shining is really due to Prakasha. So Tadeva Bhasamanatam Ghataha Prakashate iti Vyavaharascha tan Nibandhanataya Mukhyaha. So when we say the pot shines, Gata or pot is cognized, pot is known, all these things, that Jnana Vyavahara, Jnana Kriya is dependent on this Prakasha being there. The Prakasha Dharma has to be there And since it is said that it is common for everything, how it is common, he is going to show now. Okay. Prakasha is the main thing. Prakasha dharma has to be there in all the things. Then only the vyavahara is possible. So how does this dharma get associated with everything and make the vyavahara possible? That they are explaining now. Vyavahara prati sambandhitvam prati hetutva rupa vyavahara anugunyam jnanasya eva. So the jnana has something called vyavahara anugunyam hetutva. Hetutva rupa vyavahara anugunyam means what? For the vyavahara to take place, there has to be a hetu, there has to be a cause. That is there in the jnana. They are saying jnana has it is the cause for the facilitation of the vyavahara. Okay. Even the vyavahara pratisambandhitvam, whatever the connection which is happening between different things for the vyavahara to take place, it is the cause for that. Okay, hetutva rupa is there for jnana. And in this, what he is saying is tatra pratyaktva anukulatva ekatva lakshanasya swasya vyavahara pratisambandhitam prati hetutva rupam vyavahara anugunyam jnatri swarupa Swarupa Bhuta Jnanasya eva. Okay, in this the knower, whatever is known as the knower, is Pratyagatma. It is the innermost. That is the Atma. They also accept. That is the Jnana Dravyam, according to them. That Jnana only is the cause for all this Vyavahara to happen. And it also has all these other dharmas they are saying. It is the innermost. Being the innermost itself is a dharma. Then it facilitates this Jnana Vyavahara. That is Anukulyatva. Correct? And Ekatva. It is only one. Okay. Like this, these characteristics are all there. These dharmas are there. And swasya vyavahara prati sambandhitam prati hetutva rupam means it not only is the hetu for the sambandha for between the ghata and they will talk about a dharma bhuta jnana, but it is also, it connects itself also with everything else. Swasya means what they are saying is, it in one way what they are saying is it lights itself up and it also lights other things. Both are there. Swasya, this is where we don't accept with them. We'll come to that. Okay, swasya vyavahara prati sambandhitam prati hetutva rupam vyavahara anugunyam. So the vyavahara anugunyam for this atma, which is jnana dravya, is in the form of making itself connected to all this vyavahara. Okay, and it is the cause for that, and it is jnatri swarupa bhuta. Okay, this is one. This is the dharmic jnana. Whatever they call as dharmic jnanam is first they are defining that like this. Then dharma bhuta jnanam they are going to talk about. What is that? Swasya rupa, swagata, ekatva, paraktva. Okay. For the dharmic jnanam, pratyaktva. For the dharma bhuta jnanam, it is parak. Okay. Paraktva, anukulatva, anukulatwadi, akara, swa ashraya, tat sambandha, swa vishaya, tat sambandhanam. Okay. Vyavahara prati sambandhitve hetutva rupam vyavahara anugunyam tu dharma bhuta jnanasya eva. So each of these things, how they facilitate the vyavahara is what he is explaining. So everywhere vyavahara anugunyam is there. The dharmi bhuta jnanam, by lighting itself up and connecting itself with others, it facilitates the vyavahara. Then the dharma bhuta jnanam, what does it do? So it has all these things. What is that? It lights itself up also. Swasya rupa, swagata, ekatva, and also it has ekatvam, paraktvam and all that. It is not pratyak, but it is parak. It is something outside. And it also, what does it do is Swa Ashraya Tat Sambandha Swa Vishaya Tat Sambandhanam Vyavahara Prati Sambandhitve, it said. Means it connects itself with the Swa Ashraya. The Dharma Bhuta Jnana has the Atma or Dharmi Bhuta Jnanam as the Ashraya. It is the support or Adhisthana, correct? It itself is there on the Dharmi Bhuta Jnanam. And it also connects the Vishaya to the Dharmi Bhuta Jnanam. Okay? In that manner, it becomes the Hetu for the Vyavahara, and it has Vyavahara Anugunyam. Okay? This Dharma Bhuta Jnana only has this kind of a Vyavahara Anugunyam. It helps the Vyavahara or facilitates Vyavahara by connecting the Dharmi Bhuta Jnanam or Atma Dravyam with the Vishaya. And it also, in the Jnana Vyavahara, it lights itself up and it helps to light up the Vishaya. That is there only in the Dharma Bhuta Jnanam, they say. So therefore what? Ataha Swaparavyavahara Anugunyam Jnana Asadharana Prakasha Lakshanam iti Yuktam iti. So therefore, in the Jnana, okay, which is Prakasha, because Jnana means basically cognition is looked upon as shining and all that. He is saying Swapara Vyavahara Anugunyam has to be there. Means it has to light itself up, it has to light up the Vishaya. Both are there, and that is proper. That's how it should be. That's why we say that for them, this Swaprakashatvam is not Nitya. It is produced by the Vyavahara, correct? The Prakashatvam itself is defined as Vyavahara Anugunyam. So only when the Vyavahara is there, Prakasha is there. And Swaprakasha also is there. Otherwise, the Prakasha is not there for them, okay? Now, this itself we cannot accept. So, Yuktamiti, if you say like this is a sadharana and it is basically facilitating its own and other, whatever is the other object, both it facilitates the lighting up, and it is asadharana, it is common to all jnana, that prakasha lakshana, the characteristic of being or characteristic of lighting up or shining. We don't accept ma evam. Why? So we say vyavahara anugunyam dvidham. So the facilitation of vyavahara, of activities, particularly the action of knowing, two things are there, two types are there. Two types of facilitators we accept. What are they? Vyavahara prati yogitva rupam ekam. So for any vyavahara, there has to be a pratiyogi. So, for example, the Vishaya itself is the pratiyogi, correct? Whenever you talk about any activity, what is the object of action? So there is an actor, there is also a object of action. These are all pratiyogi. The object of action is a pratiyogi. So the object of action also facilitates the action, correct? Without that object of action, the action cannot take place. So by being a pratiyogi only, it facilitates. Vyavahara anugunyam is there for that. And vyavahara pratiyogitvam prati hetutva rupam aparam means that to make the object as a pratiyogi, as an object of action, there has to be a cause, because it itself cannot do that. That's why it is jada. Understand that. So for the pot to shine, there has to be a shiner, correct? Something, it cannot shine by itself. Pot is jada. It cannot shine by itself. That means it requires the light of something else. Something else has to come and be the cause for the pot to shine. Correct? So that cause, two things we accept. There has to be a light which shines, and then due to that light, part also shines, correct? That is what we call anubhati, correct? Bhati, anubhat. So the bhati is the hetu for anubhati, that which shines after. So these two things are there. So tatra prathamam gatadi vishayagatam, he says, he explains no. The vyavahara pratiyogitva rupam anugunyam is there in the gata because it, at least it is shining after, correct? For that it is there. In that manner, it facilitates the vyavahara. And dvitiyam tu jnana gatam. The second is in jnana. Okay, so jnana gatam iti. The jnana is the one which shines on the part, and part shines because of that. So dvitiyam tu jnana gatam iti sthite katam swapara vyavahara anugunyam jnana asadharana prakasha lakshanam bhavitumarhati. If this is the case, how can you say further? What they are adding here is jnana shines on itself, or jnana lights itself up, like that he is saying. And that is also happening only when the vyavahara happens. This is all problem. You understand? By implication, what their meaning is, the swaprakashatvam itself is there only when the prakasha vyavahara is happening. Okay, the vyavahara is happening only when the jnana kriya is happening. So that is why they have to talk about swapara vyavahara anugunyam. For us, Atma is always shining. Whether something is lighted up or not, something may be lighted up. See, sun is always shining. But that doesn't mean every object has to be lighted up by the sun. Unless the light is unless the object is under sunlight, it will not be lighted up. You can put the object somewhere else also, where it is not having the presence of the sunlight. Wherever sunlight is present, some object is lighted up. So now you cannot say, I'm just giving you the gist of the argument because later on the same thing will come. What they are saying, because the lighting up or shining of the pot happens, both the sun and the pot are getting lighted up. You understand? Because of the whatever the vyavahara of the pot shining or pot getting lighted up, both pot is para. And sun also lights itself up, it seems, due to that vyavahara. This is not reasonable, correct? This is nonsense because sun always shines. Whether something has this vyavahara or not doesn't depend on sun whether it is shining or not. Sun is always shining. There has to be another vishesha which either makes the like you have to bring the pot into the presence of the sunlight, correct? So it depends on whether the pot itself is under sunlight or not for it to be lighted up. Even if the pot is not in the presence of sunlight, sun is always shining only, right? It's not that only when the pot is brought under sunlight, both sun and the pot are getting lighted up. Like that we cannot say. That is what they are saying. So that's why he is pointing out, see, pot, for it to be lighted up or for it to shine, of course, it is the pratiyogi for that shining or lighting up activity. That way it facilitates that. Then sun is the one which shines on that. That doesn't mean that sun is also shining itself or anything, correct? That is not correct. So you cannot put this this swapara vyavahara anugunyam jnana asadharana prakasha lakshanam, like that you cannot say. Okay. So now then he is further what nanu yadi vyavahara anugunyam prakasha lakshanam syat tarhi tasya ati vyaptihi syat ghatadau natu tatha uktam kintu swapara vyavahara anugunyam iti uktam. Okay, see further what yadi vyavahara anugunyam prakasha lakshanam. If prakasha lakshana is the vyavahara anugunyam, then it is not going to be only on jnana. It will also extend to the ghata. Ativyapti onto Gata will be there. Tasya Ativyaptihi syad Ghatadau. So, but Natu Tatha Uktam Kintu Swapara Vyavahara Anugunyamiti Uktam. So, but what you have said is it is Swapara Vyavahara Anugunyam only. And here we have to see Tacha Swasya Parasyacha Vyavahara Pratiyogitva Rupam Yadi Yad Vyavahara Anugunyam Pratihetutva Rupameva iti na ati vyaptihi iti chet ma evam. Okay, so now we are telling them this when you say that Vyavahara Anugunyam is the Prakasha Lakshana, it will have Ativyapti into Ghata also, but Ghata is Jada, it doesn't have any Prakasha. But Ghata also facilitates the Vyavahara. In that manner, if you say, but what we are saying is it is not just Vyavahara Anugunyam, it has to make itself and others also, it has to facilitate both, they are saying. It has to be lighting itself up and light others up. Then only it is really, that is the Vyavahara Anugunyam we are talking about. That is not there in pot. Because pot cannot light itself up because it is Jada. Only a light can, they are saying a Deepa. They are giving an example of Deepa. They are saying a light only, light itself up also it is. And it is lighting up the pot also. So, Swapara Vyavahara Anugunyam is what we are saying. So, that is there only in the whatever Deepa or in the Dharma Bhuta Jnanam. It is not there in part. So, there is no Ativyapti like this they are saying. So, Tacha Swasya Parasyacha Vyavahara Pratigogitva Rupam Yad Vyavahara Anugunyam. So, the Vyavahara Pratigogitvam should be there towards oneself and for others also. Tat prati hetutva rupam eva iti na ativyapti. So there is no ativyapti like this they are saying. This also we don't accept. Iti chet ma evam. Why? See, swataha jadatvat ghatasya gataha bhati iti vyavahara prati sambandhitvam na bhavati iti kritva jnanasya tad hetutvam astu yatha swataha abhasamanasya ghatasya surya prakashavashat ghataha bhasate iti vyavahara pratiyogitvam bhavati tadvate. So, see, swataha jadatvat ghatasya gataha bhati iti vyavahara pratisambandhitvam na bhavati. First, what he is saying, gata is jada, it is insentient. So, gata cannot be like gataha bhati by itself, correct? Gatasya gataha bhati iti vyavahara sambandhitvam na bhavati. Gata itself does not have a vyavahara that it is knowing itself or anything as gata. Therefore, for the gata to be known, that hetutvam can be there only in jnana, correct? So, bhavati iti kritva, jnanasya tad hetutvam asti is saying. Jnana has the hetu or it is the cause for gata becoming known. Gata itself cannot say that I know myself or anything. It has no way of doing that. It is insentient. For the gata to be known, the cause has to be jnana. Therefore, what yatha swataha abhata manasya gatasya surya prakasha vashat gataha bhasate iti vyavahara pratiyogitvam bhavati tadvat. So again, the example for this, what he is giving, a pot can be in darkness, means it does not shine. Then when does it shine means it is when it is under Surya Prakasha, then it will shine, correct? Gataha bhasate. Like that, similarly, pot is unknown and it cannot know itself, and it gets known means it is known through jnanam alone. It can be known. It cannot know itself. So therefore, katam punaha swataha eva bhasamanasya jnanasya vyavahara prati sambandhitvam prati swasya eva hetutvam. So this being the case, how can you say, see, the jnanam is always the hetu for knowing something else. and it is always shining. How can you say that it is knowing itself? Only when this vyavahara happens, it is also knowing itself, you are saying. Correct? Katam punaha swataha eva bhasamanasya jnanasya vyavahara prati sambattitvam prati swasya eva etutvam means only when the vyavahara happens, when the connection between pot and jnana is there, jnana knows itself, he say. That is something we cannot accept. There is no hetutvam, or the jnana does not cause itself to be known when the ghata is also known. When the vyavahara is happening, when the connection with the vyavahara is there, then it also knows itself. It becomes the cause for knowing itself, you are saying. That doesn't make any sense. For this only again we use that. He is saying, so once we say this, what he says, no, there is a lamp, Pradipa. Atmanam api gatadim eva bhasayati eva, he say. It lights itself up. It lights up the pot also if there is a lamp. So why cannot we say it is also a cause for itself to be shining? Once we say this, what? So, and therefore he is saying, yatha tata jnanam api paramiva swamapi bhasayati iti vachyam. So, there similarly, jnana also knows itself or makes itself known, and it also makes the pot known. Jnana makes itself known and it also makes the pot known. Why cannot we say like that? Because the lamp it lights itself up and it lights up the pot also. So it can be the hetu for both swasya and parasya. This is their argument. If you say that navachyam, why? See, suryaha ghatam avabhasayati iti uktau ghatam anavabhasayataha suryat avabhasayataha suryasya kaschid visheshaha asti. Okay, so now this is the Surya Drishtanta which I gave already. That's what he is giving now. See, Surya is shining on the pot. Okay, Surya lights up the pot. We said that. Once we say this, that if you say the Surya or the pot is not lighted up by the Surya. Now, between the pot lighted up by the Surya and pot not lighted up by the Surya, what is the cause? There has to be some difference. Kastij Visheshaha. What made the pot not light up? Is it the Prakasha of Surya itself? Or in Sanskritam, if you have to say Surya Sanidhyam. Sanidhyam has to be there. See, only when the pot is in the presence of Surya or Surya Kirana, the rays of sun, it will be lighted up. And later on, if you say the pot is not lighted up, that means pot is not there in the presence of sunlight. That's all we can say. That is the Vishesha. Surya Sanidhyam is not there for the pot. That doesn't mean Surya itself is not shining. Correct? That's the point we are making. Because only if the Surya is not shining and only when the pot is getting lighted up, Surya also is shining. Then you can say it is shining itself and it is shining the pot also. You understand what I am saying? But Surya is always shining. Whether the pot is getting lighted up or not is not dependent on whether Surya is shining or not. It is dependent on whether the pot is having Sanidhya of the Surya Kirana or not. So therefore you cannot say when the Surya is lighting up the pot, it is lighting itself up and lighting up the pot. Correct? It is not lighting itself up and all that. It is always, its very nature is to shine. That's all. If an object comes in its presence, that object, in fact, Bhashyakara uses this even to establish that this Trich Pratyaya in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is an argument in Swayamjyoti Brahmanam. Trich Pratyaya means there has to be Kartritvam. Like this, the Purvapakshi argues. But Bhashyakara says in Prakashayita, Prakashayitra, if you use for the Prakasha karma, Trich you are using, Prakashayitra, that doesn't mean that Surya really has the Kartritvam of lighting up, correct? Surya's nature itself is to be bright. Now, when something comes under the presence of Surya, we say it is lighting it up, but that is figurative only, correct? Surya did not do anything, really speaking. So even Puja Swamiji, my Guruji used to say, if you go and ask the Surya, did you light up the pot, means it will say, I did not do anything. I am like as I am, correct? It doesn't have any kartritvam like that. So for certain karma, the trich pratyaya need not necessarily mean that it is actually always pointing to a kartritvam being there and all that. So here what we are saying is the Vishesha has to be there. And what is that Vishesha? Okay. So Kaschid Vishesha asti anyatha tad vachanasya eva anupapattih. So otherwise, you cannot say that Gata shines, Gata does not shine, like that. You cannot say. So for this he is giving an example also. See, Devadattaha artham bodhayati iti uktau. He artham abodhayati. Abodhayatuhu Devadatta artham bodhayatuhu Devadatasya kaschid visheshaha asti tadvat, he say. Means Devadatta is teaching something to somebody. So Devadatta teaches. But Devadatta is not teaching everybody, right? He can only teach somebody. Now, what is the difference between the one who is being taught by Devadatta and the one who is not teaching the Devadatta? Means one is there in the Sannidhi of Devadatta, correct? Somebody who is attending Devadatta's class, that person is being taught by Devadatta. Somebody who is not attending Devadatta's class cannot be taught by Devadatta. There, Devadatta becomes Abodhayita. Correct? The same Devadatta is the teacher to the people who are attending his class, but he is not the teacher to those who are not attending the class. Now, in this case, but did Devadatta do anything for that? He is the same Devadatta, correct? The same Devadatta becomes teacher to those who are attending his class, and he is not the teacher for those who are not attending his class. That Vishesha is not there in Devadatta. The Vishesha is depending on whether the person is attending or not attending, or person is in the presence of Devadatta or not in the presence of Devadatta. Similarly, sun shines. Whether the pot is getting lighted up or not depends on whether pot is in the presence of sun or not in the presence of sun. That does not determine what, or it does not create any Vishesha in the sun itself, correct? Sun is the same sun always. So you cannot say only due to the Vyavahara of pot getting lighted up, sun also gets lighted up. That is very stupid statement, correct? It's not really a proper statement. You cannot give that as a Lakshana. That is the point we are making. This is an important thing. Can be somewhat confusing also, but he is making that point beautifully here. So therefore, what evam sati Suryaha Atmanam avabhasayati iti yuktahu Atmanam anavabhasayataha Suryat avabhasayataha Suryasya kaschid visheshaha syat. Now, if you really say that Surya is shining something on something, and it is also not shining in some cases, then because of this, there is a Vishesha in the Surya itself, if you say, correct? There is a difference, obviously. But if you attribute it to the Surya itself, it is not proper. Nacha ishtapatihi, we say. It is not desirable for you also. Why? Because we are asking, Yaha Atmanam avabhasayan Suryasya kidrishaha kim prakasha swarupaha uta aprakasha swarupaha. So, we ask now, the one which is not shining, the sun which is not shining on something, is it also prakasha swarupa or not prakasha swarupa? The one which is shining also is prakasha swarupa, one which is not shining also is prakasha swarupa, because Surya is always shining. So, adye katham prakasha rupasya Suryasya anavabhasanam. If Surya is Prakasha Swarupa, how it cannot shine there or how it cannot light up. So, and if you say the second one, it is Aprakasha when it is not shining. Katam Suryasya Aprakasha Rupatvam. How can Surya be not Prakasha? So, this is what we are pointing out. Jnanam is always of the nature of Chaitanyam. When the Vishaya comes, it gets lighted up. It becomes evident. Everything becomes evident to Atma. Correct? That doesn't mean only when something becomes evident to Atma, Atma itself becomes evident, you cannot say. That is the point. The Swaprakashatvam comes to Atma along with Paraprakashatva is the argument they are making. And Swaprakashatva is because of that it is Anitya and all that. That doesn't make any sense. Therefore, Tasmat Swasya Swa Avabhasanam Na Upapadyate. Finally, what we say, Surya cannot light itself up and all that. It cannot, in fact, that is also subject and object cannot be the same for the activity. It is shining, you can say. Shining is its very nature. That doesn't mean it lights itself up. Even when we talk about Swayam Jyotihi or even the Atma being Swayam Jyoti or Swaprakasha, we have to understand it is not that Atma does not know itself as an object. That is a very important point. This is also made in the Brihadaranyaka-Bhashya in the Swayam Jyoti Brahmana. Because when we say Atma is Swayam Jyotihi or Swaprakasha, then the Purva Pakshi there raises the point, how can Atma be both a subject and object, correct? How can it be the one, it can know itself. If you say it knows itself, then it is both the knower and the object of knowledge, correct? That will be a contradiction. Means Bhashyakara explains there, it is not in that meaning. When we say Swayam Jyotihi, it just shines. But it is not that it is knowing itself as a object or anything. In fact, that is not necessary. Its very nature is to shine always. So that is the idea here. And therefore what? Yetena achit padartha vyavahara anugunya hetutvameva jnanasya. So jnana has achit padartha vyavahara anugunya. Means it facilitates the lighting up of the jada, jnana. So that hetutva is there. That cause is there. That being the cause of facilitating the lighting up of jada or achit padartha. Natu chit padartha, say it does not light up itself or it lights up some other chaitanya. Like that it is not there. Why? Because chitaha eva jnanatva iti siddham. So the chit itself is jnana. That being the case, this swapara vyavahara anugunyam is not proper. This we have done. Okay, once we say this, what? They come back. Nanu tathapi achit padartha vyavahara anugunya hetutva rupa prakashavatvat jnanam sadharmakam iti chet. Now they are coming back and saying, okay, let jnana be only the cause of lighting up achit padartha. But now it has this quality of facilitating the lighting up of achit padartha. That dharma itself, it has that anugunyatvam or anugunya hetutva rupa prakashavatvat jnanam sadharmakam iti chet ma evam vai kim jnanasya sadharmakatam vyavahara dashayam sishadaishasi yadva paramartha dashayam. No, you want to establish this sadharmaka of jnana in the vyavahara dasha or the paramartha adye siddha sadhanam means. If you say in the vyavahara dasha, we don't mind. It is desirable for us also. It is siddha sadhana means it is already, everybody accepts that. You don't have to specially establish that. Dvitiye achit padarthasya eva abhavat paramartha dashayam katham tad vyavahara anugunya hetutvam jnanasya. If you say no, in reality, in ultimate reality, in paramartha itself, it is like that means paramarthataya achit padartha itself is not there. Achit padarthasya abhavat, in paramartha dasha, there cannot be any dharma like vyavahara anugunya hetutvam, like that there cannot be a dharma itself for jnana. Jnana is there as jnana, that's it. Nothing else is there really in the same order of reality. Therefore, there is nothing to be facilitated or shined upon or anything like that, because in Paramartha, there is abhava of achit padartha itself. Therefore, what? Atha yaduktam dharma bhuta jnanasya idam swarupa bhuta jnanasya punaha idamiti tat kapola kalpitam apramanam agrahyamiti purvameva uktam tasmat nirdharmaka eva anubhuti. So finally what we are saying, whatever you are saying, there is a dharma bhuta jnana is like this, dharmi bhuta jnana is like this, and all that, whatever lakshana you gave, that is all your own imagination only. There is no pramana for all that. This was already said, and therefore what? Anubhuti is nirdharmaka. It cannot have any dharma. Okay, then further Ramanuja says something. We'll see that in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Om.